Okay, well, it's time for your favorite part of the show. Time to find out who George is going to pick this week. And if it's your team, you're lucky. If it's not, well, 2 out of 8 times, it's not too bad. Let's start with the big one, George, out at Lowry Field. Permian taking on Coronado, and obviously this has become a big game all of a sudden because Permian's in that 3-way tie in the district trying to push for that playoff spot. Coronado trying to see if they can try and make themselves a playoff team.
Yeah, it's an interesting game because both teams are playing probably their best football of the year right now. Coronado's rolling. They've won 2 of their last 3. Permian has won their last 2. So it's going to be a really, really tough ball game for both teams. It just depends on, if Coronado defensively, I think, has to be able to stop Permian in that offense. Stephen Pipes, their quarterback, they've got a good running back in DeAnthony Fay. But at the same time, what Coronado is doing offensively, being able to run the football and being able to take some of that pressure off of Rick Henderson is really key to what they're doing. If they can do that, they can control the ball, they can hold on to it, and they can keep it away from that Permian defense. And then I think, after last week, coming off Tascosa, I don't think that Permian is that much different than Tascosa. It's probably a little better, but maybe not that much different. That's why I'm going to go ahead, take the home team. The Mustangs are rolling, go with Coronado this week.
All right, so obviously that could be a huge win for Coronado in this game. Next game going on, San Angelo Central taking on Lubbock High. And Lubbock High, I think we can give them this one safely.
Well, I don't know about safely. I think they're going to have to work for it because San Angelo Central is a good team. When they were here playing Monterey, they were really playing some good football. They weren't winning, but they were playing some good football. Now, the last couple of weeks, they've really took it on the chin. They took it against Midland Lee and I think against Odessa the week before. So, 2 tough teams. They may have taken a step back. Lubbock High is still going to have to play, but I think just based on talent right now, I think the Westerners are just a tick better than Central. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it might be a high-scoring game, but go with the Westerners at home in this one.
All right, and then the game everyone's going to be talking about around the confines of 50th Street in Indiana. Monterey taking on Midland Lee. They get the chance to take on Coach Morton for the first time. How is this one going to turn out?
Well, you hope. You wonder if revenge is going to be the word. I don't think revenge is going to be the right word. I think they're eager to play this game. Maybe Coach Morton isn't eager to play this game. I don't know. I haven't talked to him or any of that this week. But this game being in Midland and Lee is come off the win against Permian. They had the loss to Permian. Had a good week against San Angelo Central. And this being at home, I think Midland Lee is probably just going to have a little bit too much talent, and they're sitting there fighting for that playoff spot right now as well. I think this is going to be a close game as well. Could be another high-scoring game. The way Monterey played Odessa last week, I think they're going to give Midland Lee fits, but I think in the end, Lee's going to be able to pull away, maybe by about a touchdown. I like Lee in this one.
All right, switching over to Class 4A now. Plainview taking on Friendship, and obviously the Tigers have had a tough bump in the road. That was a tough loss to Big Spring 2 weeks ago. How is this one going to turn out?
Well, this is one that's really kind of crucial for the Tigers. 4 years ago this was for a district championship. Now this is going to be to see who stays in the playoff hunt because both teams are 0-2 right now. I know Friendship is really doesn't is not used to being there, but they've had 2 tough games like you said against Big Spring and against Hereford. Plainview had a tough game against Big Spring this last week and got beat pretty bad. So, but I think Friendship is going to rebound. I still like what they do defensively, and I saw the numbers from their game last week. Against Hereford, and how they lost that game with some of the offensive numbers they put up, I don't know. I think they'll do the same thing against Plainview this week. I think Friendship gets back on the track and wins this week.
All right, our next game, switching over to District 1-3A, Estacado taking on Cooper. Obviously, the Matadors have shown how big they can be offensively, even without a Biggity or some of their other running backs on the bench. DeVeritt Stubblefield having big games. Cooper trying to still find that notch. Do they have what it takes to beat the Matadors, though?
When you take everything into consideration between offenses, defenses, talent, yardage, things like that, I don't know if you could get a more even game in my mind. This game is just pretty much down the middle. I think Estacado will be able to run the football. I think they'll be able to chase defensively. I think they'll be able to chase Cooper. But I also think Cooper's going to be able to run the football, and I think they'll be able to hit some big plays, and I think they'll be able to stay with Estacado. All things being even, last week, I would have said Estacado in this one, the way that the teams were playing. But after this past week, everything right down the middle, go with the home field advantage. Cooper wins this one close.
All right, switching over to District 3-2A now. Idalou taking on Roosevelt. This was obviously a great game last year. Roosevelt was rolling toward the playoffs last year, but bumped into Idalou, who was pretty mad after a loss to Littlefield. Oh, surprise, it's the same type of deal this season. What happens in this one?
Well, not only is Idlewild going to be mad, they're going to be furious because they've lost 2 games now in district play, which is something that Johnny Taylor teams just don't often do. But this is how this district is kind of shaping up this year. You got Littlefield and you got Post at the top 2. Then you've got a 4-way tie between Idlewild, Roosevelt, Shallowater, and Denver City. So this is a key game for the playoffs. I like what Roosevelt has done the last couple weeks. They've gotten their offense cranked up, but Idlewild still plays great defense. They just ran into a very good Littlefield team last week. I think Idlewild is going to get back on its winning ways. I think they found a little bit of offense last week. I think they're going to be able to rally back and come back defensively. Idlewild goes on the road, give this one to the Wildcats.
Now, you mentioned a very good Littlefield team. They're going to welcome in the Mustangs from Shallowater, and obviously Barrio has just carried this team. He's played fantastic. We thought there were so many holes that Huseman would have to fill with this team, but I mean, it looks like they haven't skipped a beat since last season.
Not really, and that's the thing that they're doing it right now with juniors and sophomores in a lot of key positions, and they're just running the football. They're just very good at what they do. They're kind of like the movie Remember the Titans. They run 6 plays, but they run them very well. Well, Littlefield does the same thing. They run about 6 plays, or well, maybe not 6 plays, but they're very good at what they do. And I think they're going to be able to handle Shallowater coming in this next week. Shallowater is coming off a tough game against Post. They lost that one late, and this is good. They're fighting for their playoff lives. But I just don't think that defensively they're going to have enough to stop Littlefield. I like the Wildcats here.
All right, New Deal taking on Rawls in our last game, and Lions usually eat jackrabbits. So is there any reason I can't think this way in a game on football terms?
Oh, do lions catch jackrabbits in the jungle? I know they catch zebras and things like that.
When you feed them to them.
But you just got to swat a jackrabbit. But all kidding aside, I don't know if anybody in that district right now is going to match what New Deal is doing. They got through Olton the other week, and Olton I think was going to be their biggest challenger. Now they've got Rawls coming in, and Rawls is coming off a good win against Crosbyton. They just don't have enough, I think, to match New Deal. I think New Deal's going to go in, give this one to the Lions. They keep rolling.
All right, so Georgia's picks for this week. Coronado over Permian, big one out at Lowry Field. Lubbock High over San Angelo Central. Midland Lee over Monterey. Friendship over Plainview. Cooper over Estacado. Idalou over Roosevelt. Littlefield over Shallowater. And New Deal over Rawls. Well, that's all the time we have this week on Football Fever. Be sure to check LASD.TV for all your replay times of Football Fever and Friday Night Football. Enjoy the games this weekend. For George Watson, I'm Travis Cram. We'll see you next week right here on The Fever. Lubbock Christian's rolling again toward another TAPS District Championship this season. I forgot who they were taking on this piece. Okay. Lubbock Christian is rolling toward another TAPS District Championship this season. They have Prince of Peace coming up next. So we sent George Watson over to visit with a little bit with Hutch Haley and more on our film session. I can't talk today. Blah.